Namaste and good evening to one and all. Welcome to Leaders Connect 360 episode LC0120. Leaders Connect 360 is CSR initiative initiated by Visa Training and organized by the Mask Leadership. My name is Yugandhar, currently working with Everest IMS Technologies as Manager HR. Leaders Connect 360 started with specific objective of inviting 1,000 plus leaders and create million leaders. It's an online hub where every Wednesday from 6:30 p.m. to 7:15 p.m. we learn from top management leaders on Zoom Live, and once in quarter in each city we have an offline networking, meet to network, support and grow with the leaders. That's when we call it as Leaders Create More Leaders. Currently all are muted and we will be giving you an opportunity to speak to our guest, Mr. Ganesh Balasubramani. He is Divisional Head Human Resource at Apollo Tyres Ltd. And the topic would be on AAA Leadership. So AAA, that is authority, aspiration, and authenticity. Before you are unmuted, let me share that we are currently live on LinkedIn and this episode LC120 is being recorded. First time visitors may click on WhatsApp, Facebook, and LinkedIn link on the chat box to get updated by joining us in creating more leaders. All in-house are requested to turn on your videos, which will help in making the episode highly interactive. That's good. So are we all ready to interact with our guest, Mr. Ganesh Balasubramani, and panel discussion leader, Ms. Archana Sreeram. She is Human Resource Specialist. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Before the introduction of guest, let me also introduce Mr. Pankaj, Managing Partner, Visa Training. Will interact with our guest along with the panel discussion leader, Ms. Archana Sreeram. Over to you, Pankaj.
Thank you so much, Yugandhar. Good evening, one and all. Good evening, all the visitors. Our guest, Mr. Ganesh, Archana, panel discussion leader. So I welcome all of you on behalf of Visa Training, Leaders Connect, and the Mass Leadership. So before we move forward, right? So let me take you to the agenda of the evening. So we have our panel discussion leader, Ms. Archana, who will be interacting with Ganesh sir. Post panel discussion, we will have an open house wherein people can have questions and ask certain questions to Ganesh sir. There will be a small quiz. So to know and understand how people are taking the understandings from Mr. Ganesh. And post after having our quiz, there will be a summary from Mr. Senthil, and post that we'll have a small networking, and then that's how we'll close the session. So before formally inviting the guest to speak and Archana to take up the panel discussion, I would ask Mr. Arul to have a formal introduction of our guest and panel discussion leader. So Arul, can you please play the introduction video? Thank you so much, Arul. Thank you so much. So Ganesh sir, we welcome you formally to today's episode, Leaders Connect 120. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. Only my, I just wanted to start the session. My name is Ganesh Balasubramani. It is not Balasubramani. I think you have missed an An. That is okay.
Right, right.
Uh, Thanks for this wonderful opportunity and happy to share my. See, I have some limited experience in this field of HR. I'll not say that 2 decades, nearly 2 decades of experience. So whatever I'm going to share, I think it is based on my experience with. I had so many experiences with the leaders. So probably, if any thoughts which is not converging to your thought process, please take it as a disclaimer so that it cannot be taken very seriously.
Sure, sir. Sir, we look forward to hear from you. And my apologies on behalf of the entire team for missing out that N. I'm really sorry. So please accept my apologies for that, sir. We
Yeah,
will
yeah, no
ensure
problem.
same is not repeated. Thank you so much, sir. So to take things further, I would invite Miss Archana to take the panel discussion forward. Over to you, Miss Archana. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pankaj. Good evening. Hope you're doing good.
Yeah,
And
thank
hello,
you.
Mr. Ganesh. Nice to
Hi,
have
hi.
you here. And looking forward to a very informative session because I saw your profile while the video was being played, and it was actually one of the very sound profiles which I've come across. And of course, your very sentence saying that you put forward the disclamation sentence beforehand itself. So we'll go by the very, the triple A leadership as it states. So the authenticity part of it here is actually being shown by you. So I
Yeah.
really appreciate that. So without further delay, let me go forward with the session. The first part itself, as I said, about the authenticity. So we all go by this fact, knowing that the team members also have their separate aspirations, just like the leader. And it is a popular saying which goes that if you do not fulfill your dreams, you have to fulfill others. So, unfortunately, some people are made to execute the dreams of others. So, in a scenario like this, how can the leader's authenticity impact the aspirations of the team members?
Thank you for this very wonderful question. And I was also looking forward to this question definitely. When I was thinking about this topic itself, I was thinking what to narrate because HR is one of the topic. We are all going behind the trends. It is not based on the trade. Some trend is happening, and we are all followers of the trend. Something which I thought a triple A, like a battery, which are actually ignite and give some sort of an energy. Then I thought I will start with the basics of authority. Then I will come to the authenticity part because authority is the style in which the leadership started, and authenticity is the place where in which we actually now progressing towards, or actually we are in the stage of that kind of a different scenario which organization leaders have exhibited. Coming to the question that you asked, I don't see a big fundamental difference between an individual aspiration of a leader or a aspiration of the team. If you look at our family, there will be a lot of differences will be there, but the overall goal and the objective of the family will be narrated by the father or the mother who is actually leading the show. So according to me, without any jargon, if we associate this corporate in order to our day-to-day life, we need to believe on the collective aspirations. One of the significant example why Indian team is not able to show up to the ladder is because after the episode of this IPL, it's a fantastic opportunity. People have been identified a lot of talents from the village or the rural market or the somewhere that they are getting an opportunity to participate. But if you look at as an Indian team after the IPL episode, the quality of the playing 11, because Hardik Pandya is also a leader, Virat Kohli is also a leader, Rohit Sharma is also a leader. Every leader has got their own aspirations. But when they play together for a country like India, I think that coordination and synergy is missing. So a leader should believe in collective aspirations or convergent aspirations. Coming to our organization, why the organization is facing a big challenge? Today, the fundamental challenge in front of HR is not recruitment or training or retention. It is actually killing the ecosystem of the senior management team. We are heard about the ecosystem in the company, but never ever any Harvard theory is not talking about the ecosystem which is prevailing. Why that is happening? The department has got its own aspiration or its own vision. They work in silos. The collective vision, the purpose is only stipulated or pasted in the walls. So basically, the individual objectives are really good. I am not saying it is required, but it should be 30%, 70%. That is the reason why the sense of purpose and sense of belongingness in the theory of employee engagement is very important here. So as an aspirational leader, the leader's job is to convert that individual aspiration into a collective aspiration. Show the place where the person has to travel. It will be a small place, but the destiny needs to be communicated to the individual very clearly. Otherwise, if they are both of them are going in a different direction, end of the day, the journey will not be fruitful. They may reach somewhere, but the destination will be different. That's the thought process I carry.
That's a nice thought, wonderfully put together. I love the term wherein you said it's about the collective aspirations. So that's actually very right. And also the ecosystem, it's very nice to see, somebody actually going up and saying it that yes, it does exist in the organization.
Yeah.
So now, talking about the same aspect as you said about the collective aspirations and all, when we're talking about collective aspirations, we're talking about ecosystem, as you said. So in a situation like this, what do you say that the authenticity of a person, sometimes they will have to compromise leaders, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, I might be. Sometimes they will have to compromise and they will have to think a little bit from the aspect of the side of the management as well to take a decision. Not that they want to take an inhuman decision, but I hope you understand what I'm talking about. So in a situation like this, how can they remain authentic, and what role, most importantly, does that play in a leader's authority?
Can you repeat that question? There was some connectivity issue
Sure.
there.
Sure, keeping it
The
very
last one, the last point.
sure. I'll keep it very short. How can a leader being authentic, or else how can the authenticity play an impact in the leader's authority?
Yeah, it is a very, very crucial and very wonderful question. So you were talking about sometimes we need to take a very bad decision. I often come across this theory of bell curve, which is one of the most significant aspect of HR because we cannot move from the bell curve theory. It says relative ranking. So often I found that the manager, when he rates a very, very high potential guy or a critical guy, they are happy to give excellent and outstanding rating to an individual. But they find it extremely difficult to communicate to someone who has been rated as average or poor performance. They will always tell that this theory of bell curve is bullshit. This is not at all required. Some companies have adopted a different methodology. Whatever it is there, we are in a relative ranking system. Definitely some system needs to be there. The challenge comes basically with respect to the authenticity. According to me, authority comes with position. Aspiration comes with perspective. Authenticity comes with what is that you communicate very clearly. The authenticity comes with the personality. So these are all P nature. The authority comes with position. Aspiration will come with the perspective. I will come into that. Then finally, the authenticity, it is about the personality. How many of the leaders accept their own mistakes and failures? There is always a blame game is happening. How many of them really communicate in a very, very laser-focused manner to the team members regarding their performance. Many times I could see end of the annual appraisal, a letter is given to an average rate employee. It will be more of a surprise rather than something which is actually proactively communicated. Because many times the manager is telling, I am closely working with this guy. He is the one member who is actually contributing. But actually, if we are not giving the right set of feedback, the feed forward mechanism, you are killing the future aspiration of that employee. So there will be times where in which you need to take a negative decision or take a very, very solid decision without compromising the values and vision of the company. Please communicate in a very powerful manner. And second thing, whatever the small mistakes, something, if you have taken a wrong decision, admit such a mistake and correct it over the course of time. It will actually create some sort of a trust and credibility factor among the team members. And second point, very important, is that leaders are humble to ask people around them to improve his or her ideas. How many of the people really utilize the 360-degree feedback? We conduct these kind of things as a customary or traditional thing, or I want to project that I got this feedback. We have a fantastic Thomas assessment system is there, Harrison is there. You take any example of this, how many of the real feedback is actually acted upon? There is a 360-degree feedback is there, where in which we collect the feedback, but mostly it is becoming a tick box exercise for HR, and it will remain as a PowerPoint presentation in his desktop. One of the fantastic example I will share with you, because I happen to get this feedback through various assessments. I have been part of this Harrison assessment. I got a fantastic report. I carried the report and we spent around 10,000 rupees. I am openly communicating. Then I showed this report to my wife. So these are the areas where I need to improve, and these are the areas which is good. Why you wasted 10,000 rupees? You could have asked me. This is part and parcel, day by day I am experiencing. It's obviously correct. One of the questions that I ask to each guy who is entering R&D is that, what is that your mother describes about you? Very difficult question. It is a very simple question, but people will take some time, because if I tell the right answer, what he will perceive, then I will ask, who is your best friend? How he defines you? Most of the people, they will take some time, then they will sugarcoat that statement they will give. But I am 100% truthful that 90% of the observation that your spouse or someone has given will be the right one. So leaders, while taking such kind of a feedback, rather than going for a GPTW survey or kind of a engagement survey, it should happen on a consistent basis, constant basis, and the feedback should be collected and corrected with the right amount of connectness. So they should connect with the employee. They should correct based on the feedback that we get. So challenge why? Because people get feedback, but they themselves are not convinced. And another thing which very, very important, the question that you asked, many a times the leaders are focusing on the result. You need to focus equally on the method wherein which you achieved the result. What is the big philosophy of this Japanese technology is talking about? When an audit is coming, we are preparing ourselves. Somehow we are actually moving away 2-3 days. Operation was successful. The procedure is followed, but patient died. That is one scenario. The second scenario, operation, somehow we have done, the patient succeeded. The success will not repeat. Why? Because the SOP is not adhered. So we are in the process of going to the Deming. One of the significant challenge that we are facing is that how to make that cultural transition of emphasizing equally on the method and the result part. So that's the quality of an authentic leader, to emphasize very clearly and significantly talking about the advantage and the disadvantage of not following it. Hope I answered your question.
Yes, it's actually very good. And in fact, I can also relate my own experience as well. Quite a good number of the participants who are in the call, who are actually listening to you answer for this question, can definitely relate their personal life, their work life to the kind of examples which are stated by you. And I loved it when you stated that authority comes from position, while aspirations come from the personality. And yes, rightfully said, some of us are forced to work under leaders who are probably, just going by the kind of authority in them, or the kind of thought in them that yes, I am the director, I am the associate director, I am the manager, I am the assistant manager, deputy, as the case be. And they just go by this aspect that what I say has to be abided by all the people. I'm not too sure how this kind of a mentality comes in, but in situations like this, wherein they also have their own aspirations, probably the targets, which is making them take decisions like this. However, most importantly, when they have their own aspirations, how can they align these aspirations with the team members' aspirations?
It is, Archana, it is very simple. I don't see a big, the only disconnect while it is the constant communication plays a very critical role. See, we have a system wherein which the leadership style, the personal strength and weakness of a leader should be communicated to the team, because they should know what kind of a leader or manager this person is all about. What is his likes, dislikes. First, you need to communicate about you as an individual. What are the career ups and downs that you had? Share your experience, share your mistakes, share the proud moment or woe factor that you had during the stint. Openly communicate. These are the things that I expect. Job description, role clarity document, everything is beautiful. But how many of the people really go through these kind of things? When a new person is inducted into a department, how they are getting aligned to the largest vision of the department first. Obviously, we have key performance indicators as part of variable pay or as part of getting our bonuses. But I think we need to keep people inspired. We need to keep people involved. We need to keep people more connected, and we should give more insights. Basically, this information is there everywhere. But how many of the people are really able to communicate the data from it and able to give that insight to the people? So we have very good goal setting mechanism in all the companies, management by objective. We also have a fantastic tool. But often the disconnect is happening because people are working towards meaningless goals. How am I contributing to the largest purpose of the organization? How this goal is aligned towards the last stage or the last mile is actually missing. I think as a leader or manager, we need to constantly communicate, communicate, communicate. And not only communicate, you should also have a mechanism to frequently validate. That is why in which the leadership reinforcement is very important. Many companies, they have a fantastic system called cross-functional teams. Anything you wanted to do, we will form a team. Why this cross-functional team is not able to make a success? Why 80% of the CFTs are failing? Because they don't follow a right amount of collaborative method. When Natarajan Chandrasekhar, he got the chairman of Tata, and many people were thinking when he was the non-Parsi, the first non-Parsi to become the chairman of Tata, he was invited into the Bombay, a big hotel, wherein with everybody, the luminaires were waiting for his fantastic speech. He made only 15 minutes presentation. And this 15-minute presentation, he was nothing talking about any big technology. He was telling, in order to make this company a successful one, you need to focus on one thing: create synergy and collaboration. Cut across the different vertical of the organization. Cut across the different functions of the organization. And it is not that he communicated, he actually demonstrated with leadership vision. He actually created a big collaboration between the TCS and Tata Motors. Now, if you look at the EV journey, the kind of support and the kind of changes that they would made that they made is significant. Now the next step, they are going to have a collaborative vendor with Jaguar. So I think that kind of a leader, rather than talking about the big fundamentals of leadership, focusing simple theory, how to actually make people collaborate each other. It can be a simple forum like Quality Circle, or it can be a big forum like a collective wisdom kind of a project can also help. But one thing very, very important in that is that we need a leader, the people look at it. Otherwise, if everybody is playing the role of a leader, the CFT will never work. So that is the charisma is the biggest thing. Why today the trade union is becoming more vulnerable? Why this IR is becoming more turbulent? Everybody wants to be a leader. If 10 people are there, one leader is emerging. It is not the days in which they will be more listening to a one leader with an experience. Because of the aspiration, because of the some kind of a title, people are going behind it. So probably one of the major thing, the fundamental shift which should happen in the mind of leaders is that they should create an atmosphere, an ecosystem wherein which the collaboration should become the chemistry of the team members. It should not be something which should be artificially injected. But definitely some sort of a injection is needed in the form of KPI and other thing. But rather than looking at the individual KPIs and other things, we should move away from a system of performance evaluation wherein which 70% of the goals should be assessed based on the objectives and goals of the organization. I think majority of the companies now started realizing in that aspect. You could see a successful example is demonstrated in the IT companies. It is fundamentally they work on a project-based organization, not based on the department specific. Unfortunately, in the manufacturing setup, still 80% of the performance is assessed based on individual choices and other things. So that's the thing I believe, and major thing is the how to collaborate each other, how to move away from that individual mindset is the key.
Good. Thank you very much, Mr. Ganesh. It was actually very insightful, very thoughtful. It was, how do we say, quite a good number of thought processes is communicated just by this simple answer, not the simple answer, but by one answer given by you. When you was talking about this management by objectives and collaboration should happen among the team members, I couldn't help but think of one question, that is it possible for leaders to manage without having any aspirations in their minds?
It's very difficult because aspirations only makes the world very beautiful. Today, if I'm talking to you, there is some sort of an aspiration is there in my mind. When I reach out to someone, my knowledge I'm sharing, that way I am actually satisfying my aspiration. My brand value also will go up. I'm not saying. So somebody will listen to me and they will invite you somewhere, because this is something which cannot be avoided. People will pretend that I don't have any aspiration, but that is not the right thing. What leaders have to do is that they need to identify the aspiration of the team members and accordingly place them in the right job or the right role. A leader shows commitment to build more leaders, according to me. Then only the authority will become the aspiration.
Right. So as you're
That's
saying
where
that,
the change is happening.
right. So as you're saying that, yes, of course, it is very difficult. And I also second you on this, that without aspirations, it is very difficult to, for the leaders to lead. So in a situation like this, how can they make sure that leaders' aspirations, they align with the organization's goal? Of course, very importantly, while maintaining the authenticity and the authority.
That's what I communicated early. You need to constantly communicate to the team and also should validate whether this collective aspiration is actually meeting up. So if you look at the fundamental example of this FIFA World Cup, which is concluded very recently, I hope you will be knowing about this person called, he was the most youngest coach in the history of Argentina. this Lionel Scafoni, why he became more successful. When the first match was actually Argentina lost, I think the kind of changes that they made, he was very confident. And one of the things which is beautifully written about him is that he will listen to all the team members, whether he is sitting in the bench or in the playing 11, the kind of changes that he made, he will get the feedback from all the team members. He considered himself as one among the equal rather than a person actually superior. And finally, he was more concentrating on the building a cultural capability rather than a technical capability. Cultural capability, what I said, the ability to play together as a team, the ability to play together as a one goal. So that is what he was trying to communicate rather than more concentrating on the technical aspect. Answering your question, I think if somebody is moving away from the target or somebody is actually moving away from the collective aspiration of the team, you should actually, like your school children, no, you should actually communicate to him and you should bring him back to the forte. If somebody is not very good, no, you should take a good step to even weed away that. Because organization, what I have seen, 20% of the people, irrespective of everything, they are really passionate. 60% of the people always, they are fence sitters. And another 20%, you don't have to look at them because they are the most vulnerable, difficult. Whatever you give Panjamridam to them, they will say it is very difficult. They will say it is not that as sweet as that. So don't look at the 20%. The 60% is your target community. You take any team, the 60% is applicable there. So as a leader, how you can convert that 60% to the 20% passionate is very important. And successfully, I am saying around 30% can be done. Rest of the thing, people always follow. That is the reason why which the companies are having high attrition. The companies are having high amount of dissatisfaction. Because people are relatively happy when they compare themselves with others. One example I will tell you based on my own experience. We gave the increment letter to an employee. He was very happy and he thanked the manager. Next day, he submitted his resignation. What happened is his peer actually communicated. All the people who have joined along with them got promoted. This fellow did not get promotion. Then he somehow got to know and he was literally happy with a good amount of increment. But you look at the scenario, especially I am from Kerala. Whenever the power supply goes in Kerala, now my mother will say, you look at the neighbor's house. If no power is not there, we are really, really happy. If the electricity is there, then the problem starts. So that is why the comparative mindset kills the ecosystem and the synergy of the organization. So don't worry about the 20%. You leave them. Let them leave the organization. Nothing is going to happen. Invest on that critical people who are really passionate, who carry the role modelship behavior of the company. Please ensure that they are literally aligned with the aspiration of the company. Otherwise, it will become a disaster.
A nice put forward. In fact, the aspect wherein you said that look into the neighbor's house if the current is there or not. In fact, it doesn't apply only to Kerala, Mr. Ganesh. It applies to the whole of India.
And now the inverter system has come. It is very difficult. But those days, this was one of the biggest topic.
It's actually pretty well put together. And yes, comparison mindset should not be there if you want to progress, if you want to go ahead. The thought process plays a very vital role, especially in the mindset of a leader, for him to go ahead in the organization. So I really liked your session, Mr. Ganesh. It was very nice interacting with you. Over to you, Mr. Pankaj. Please take it.
Thank you so much, Miss Archana. Thank you so much. And Ganesh sir, thank you so much for wonderful insight. And before starting, even I was thinking about this term AAA and I was relating it to the battery. Okay. Then I thought, okay, this might be a silly thing which I'm doing. Okay. But the moment you talk about AAA and you connected that, AAA to the battery, I was feeling that somewhere I'm in line with the thought process which you are having. And I really like that AAA with triple P, right? So really, sir, I mean, that's an eye opener, you can say, or that is a very simple thing which can be practiced actually as an individual. Because when we talk about leaders, and that's how what I have discussed in earlier sessions also, see, it's not about a position as a leader, right? Even we as an individual are also leaders, right? And as rightly put by you, that aspirations comes from the perspective, and the position really brings the authority, right? So rightly told by you, sir, and I'm really happy to learn some new things today from your, experiences, basically. So thank you so much for it, sir. So now, just to have an understanding that as how I could have related what you have shared, however, rest of the visitors have understood and took some points. So for that, I invite our quiz leader, Mr. Nellai. So Mr. Nellai is going to ask a question, and let's see who answers the first, and the winner will get the mass leadership book written by Mr. Prakash Sharma. So over to you, Nellai sir, for the quick quiz question.
Yeah, good evening, one and all. Thanks to Bija Training for this opportunity. And dear Ganesh sir, really wonderful insights about this AAA leadership. I really impressed your point on the collective aspiration and how to manage this particular CF team and how to run effectively and all. And as well as your feedback on this particular, how to connect with the employees and how to correct with the on the feedback and all. And really impressed points. And we will take it on this particular employee motivation and as well as employee satisfaction level. And as well as you mentioned that focus on a method and not on results. Thank you, sir. Let's see who is the lucky winner of this week quiz. And so faster the fingers first. Let's see who writes the correct answer in the chat box. Actually, I prepared this particular thing like how because you have connected that AAA leadership with the connect with the Triple P. But anyway, Pankaj sir already mentioned that.
Oh, so, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no issues at all. Yeah, I want to mention one point that Mr. Ganesh sir mentioned that, and current ecosystem, it is going towards the ecosystem. Then he wanted to mention one point to change the better ecosystem. And what is that point? Maybe just a minute. Yeah, even he can. Yeah, almost nearby. Yeah, we will wait for the answer. He also quoted that IPL also on that. Yeah, he mentioned about the aspiration element. Yeah, okay. All right. So Sukumaran Ajish mentioned that collective aspiration, and that's where we have to focus on the current organization. Thank you, sir. So this week quiz winner is Mr. Sukumaran Ajish.
So congratulations to Sukumaran for the winner of this quiz, and you will be awarded with the mass leadership book written by Mr. Prakash Sharma. So Mr. Arul, please get in touch with our quiz winner today and help him to get his prize. So thank you so much, Nellai sir, for conducting the quiz. So Mr. Sukuman, if you want to ask any question to our guest, Mr. Ganesh, please feel free to unmute yourself and you can ask your question. And post that, we have open house wherein we can take up to 3 questions with Mr. Ganesh, and then we can move forward. So Sukuman, sir, if you want, you can unmute yourself and speak to our guest today.
Yeah, thank you very much for this session. I just want to understand like AAA and BBB. What is that contradiction? I didn't get that.
AAA and
BBB.
Triple P. Basically, AAA, I was thinking, see, we started with the authority kind of a leadership now. So authority comes with position. I was talking about the P called position.
Okay.
It comes because today you are a HR leader. So you got that leadership through your position and title. Once you retire, nobody is going to respect you. Because it is earned by, you should read the book Leaders Without Any Title by Robin Sharma. It's a classical book written by him. I think there are plenty of good examples are there. You don't have to be a leader with without a title also you can become a leader. The second part is about the aspiration. How an aspiration is actually built. It is based on your perspective. That is the second P. P means perspective, the perspective that you carry. How you are able to make your team more gelling with your organization, how you can be more open and build the trust with the team, the humanness, that kind of a thing. The last one is the authenticity, which comes with the personality. It is more of a personality driven rather than the perspective and the position.
Thank you.
So individual personality will play a larger role. So that is the reason I was talking about this Argentina coach, because there are not many examples have always been cherished. There were leaders, there were actually presidents in India, but how APJ Abdul Kalam is actually remembered as a great leader. It's a classical example of that or the authentic leader. Coming to T.N. Sheshan, one of the guy who was very supreme in terms of actually refurbishing the entire system. He actually utilized the position. Many people, when the election commission of India, he actually reimagined the entire process. He utilized the position, he actually converted. Aspirational leaders are somebody like who will give a larger vision to the company. If you look at the company, Amul is an example of that. So their objective is not giving some kind of a milk. They actually redefine the cultural ecosystem of India by transforming the lives of the farmers. So that's the brilliance and the beauty which comes in all these aspects. So the emphasis I was actually telling is that you should move from an authority-driven leader to an aspirational leader.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sukumaran sir. So anyone who feel free to ask question to our guest, Mr. Ganesh, please raise your hand, unmute yourself and ask your question. Is there anyone who would like to ask question? Okay, so I think that we do not have much of the questions today. So as we move forward, I would invite our today Mr. Senthil Kumar. Achha, Mr. Senthil want to ask a question. Okay, so before getting into the role, please take up the question, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pankaj, and thank you for the rest of the team who are the part of this session, and thank you very much, Ganesh sir. So, by the way, let me introduce myself. I'm Senthil, been in learning and development with Daimler India commercial vehicle for past 15 years, and today you have been resonating about the HR trends and about the 360-degree feedback and about the and the bell curve. So one thing which takes me back to the back of my mind is GE follows this bell curve since 2000. So since I was from GE, so every year they need to kick or flush the bottom 10 out as per the bell curve, the bottom. So in this situation, how can a leader establish a win-win strategy? As you said that we need to be a connector, collaborator, correct. When we deal with the employee, how can we bring a connective aspiration when we deal with the employee who is a underperformer or who is a down layer rather than the maybe outlier? How do we deal with those kind of employee? Because we
Thank
can't
you. I
escape.
never
Even
expected. I understood your question.
Yeah.
And it was a very big surprise. Anyway, HR gurus are here. HR job, according to me, is like Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwaram. According to me, like Brahma, we recruit. Like Vishnu, we actually develop people.
Yeah.
Like Shiva, we actually bid farewell to the people.
Yeah.
So asking your question, see, the churning out should be the last option. What we do basically in our organization is that we need to identify somebody will be really good in terms of a particular role.
Mm-hmm.
So he may not be fit in a particular position, or the role that he is doing will not be very motivating to him, or he is potentially good, That's the reason this 9-box grid is a very fundamental tool. There is one another jargon is there in HR, wherein with the performance and the potential will be assessed. So the simple thing that you can do is that rather than putting him or branding him as a low performer, somebody is actually performing low, make a realistic performance improvement plan, not for the sake to complete the PIP process. Sit with him, identify the weak areas, and as a manager, ensure that that person is actually able to enhance his competencies better. Try to give him a job rotation or role enlargement or role enhancement or something which is not working. Somebody who is not delivering in a particular role, can you identify a role within the organization? What we used to do is that we will select the people, we will rotate them inside. If no opportunities are there, somebody who is actually an extrovert kind of a guy who can be actually challenged in a marketing or kind of a sales role. Somebody is really going to very like to interact with people. He don't know how to document, how to actually think creatively and all. That sort of a person we hired, but definitely, can you actually put him in manufacturing? So basically, understand about the position and map the person is actually delivering to that role. And finally, if nothing happens, we need to communicate to him and we need to give a sufficient time for him to stabilize his family and personal need also. I always remember whenever we are recruiting a person, we are not recruiting him, we are recruiting a family. How many of the HR managers really know about it? I don't know. Especially you ask a fresher who joins our company, many times people used to put like this to me. After 10 years, they will never bother to say anything. That is the saga in which HR is actually. This is a thankless job. But the thing is that with that job, actually the family is also turning around. So do whatever possible manner as a realistic HR person, try to actually utilize the skill of the person. If nothing works, then you bid farewell through a golden handshake. But definitely that also should be there. Otherwise, you are giving a wrong message to someone actually who's actually underperforming also. So this is the answer I experienced. I am not a big fan of actually sending out the people, but giving the pink slip on a fine day morning is not the right thing. When you are sacking someone, the manager is also 90% responsible for that. If the manager is not able to correct or not able to make an improvement in the life of an employee, first he is failing, then only the employee will fail. That is what I believe.
Fine. Thanks for the deeper insights about this, Ganesh. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Endel sir, for asking question and Ganesh sir for giving the in-depth answer to that. So now for further delay, we have one more Mr. Giri Selvaraj. So Giri sir, you can unmute yourself and ask the question.
Yeah, again, thank you for the wonderful session, sir. And really that recruitment process, you told something, Brahma, Vishnu, I think another thing I forget to, I'm not able to remember. If you can tell more things, it's fine for me. And then another question is, now the company is running towards the SDG goals, the 17 sustainable development goals. As an entrepreneur, as an individual, to protect the environment. This is the right concept, and even I have developed from water, energy, like that 5-element concept. Like that, I am also on the creation of how to create sustainable in 5 elements. First thing starts from our house. The first environment starts from house. The water, rainwater harvesting, the renewable energy, solar, bioseptic tank. Like that, I'm connecting. First, everything starts from the house. And if you can further tell me, but recruitment, when I am recruiting the people, almost as you told that we have to consider as a family. Yeah, it's subconsciously I was doing. Really, I connected very well. And but still, the retention of the people is very challenge for us. if you can give some retention tips for us, it will be very useful. Thank you for very long question. Sorry for.
So last week I addressed the Atma Forum. The title of the talk was Reimagining the Employee Retention. So if you have any scientific example or a capsule, because I'm in R&D, my attrition is more than 18%. So you know R&D, the wisdom of the people, the quality of the talent, the availability of the talent, etc. is very, very challenging. So how many times I wonder, whatever the theory that is envisaged in Harvard Business Review and the research talk about on retention, it still needs to be explored. There is no hard and fast rule. I was telling the example, no? The only thing is that please understand about your employee in a detailed manner. I'm not a firm believer of a technology in HR. You have artificial intelligence, nothing complements more than human intelligence.
True.
I could see that some engineers, they will walk on the shop floor, they will stand near the machine and they will say there is some bearing is having a fault. How many of the HR managers really sense the motivational level, the sentiments of the people? So build more connect. We have a mechanism to categorize the people like red, yellow, and green. Red is somebody who is vulnerable to leave. Yellow, he is not dissatisfied, but not satisfied also. May leave. Green is your higher thing. So basically, as a manager, you should understand the motivation level of the employee by constantly having connect meeting. It is not that something which happens on a quarterly basis, yearly basis, the feedback mechanism, everything should be thing. Retention happens only as a result. So don't focus, don't get worried about the retention part. Try to actually enhance the connectivity part and also align the aspiration of the employee and also the aspiration of the department. Herzberg was definitely saying money is not the biggest motivator. If the job is very enriching in nature, the ecosystem is really good, the working environment is really good, people may not leave. When I was there in Coimbatore chapter addressing the big forum over there, one person asked, 19 years I've been working with Apollo Tyres. 19 years. And that too in HR. It is a generalist field. I said, I don't have any psychological problem. Because today, if you work for more than 10 years, people will say that you are incompetent or you are not getting any fundamental offers from the market. I also had so many mental resignations in my mind. It is not that I'm super duper committed employee. There will be occasions wherein which we will decide what sort of a company is this, what sort of a manager is this. But identify somebody inside the organization or external market as a mentor and talk to him openly. I think one of the biggest motivation which I am getting from my wife, she will say that she actually was working with Apollo. She quit. She actually left Apollo and joined several companies. And she used to communicate. Actually, never ever you change this job because I have worked in different companies. I know the culture. This is very good. So that has also motivated me to continue. So identify that sort of a thing. Very simple example I will tell you. 221 people are there in my organization. Recently, one of the critical employee, very super duper critical employee, he decided to leave. Third day, he decided to revoke his resignation. I have not done big thing. What I have done now, I will openly say, I called his wife. I literally asked and I said, he is the most sought after guy for Apollo. If he's leaving, we are in a bad shape. Then I visited his house without knowing this person. And finally, he decided to. And I am 100% sure that because of her decision only, finally he decided to stay with the company. So there is no hard and fast rules. People will say, oh, this is fantastic. You need to give retention bonus. You need to identify you need to give international training opportunities, overseas assignment. Customize your reward and recognition plan. Pankaj will be liking Rajini movie. I'll be liking Mohanlal movie. If we both of us are liking Mohanlal movie, of you are sitting in one room and you are asking us to watch Avatar movie. I don't even understand. But from an HR point of view, you have done your job. There is a good amount of retention and engagement mechanism is there. I am a vegetarian guy. If you give me chicken biryani, what I will do? This is the biggest thing which has to be changed.
Yes, sir. Thank
We
you
can
very much,
discuss
sir.
about it a lot. I think we will connect offline
Finally,
because I am not able to
nutshell.
control my passion and emotion.
Nutshell, you are given one very good answer, sir. That cultural, customized recognition and rewards and recognition.
Yeah.
It's, yeah,
Because
it's
for
highly
me, I
insight and-
understood his influential factor is his wife. So that is his action.
Yeah. And also you told that mental resignation, like that the mental diverse will be because we are comparing with the family. Like that, when we are
And my
dealing with
views
the-
are don't ever do any kind of an exit interview in your organization. It is also another transactional job HR is doing, according to me. His full and final settlement is not done. His PF is not settled. You are asking, how was the work environment here? What he is supposed to write? He will write only very good. He will never write any bad thing about his manager.
Good
HR
one.
satisfaction, fantastic he will write. After 6 months, you ask the same question, then you will know the reality. In my organization, we conduct just for the sake of the audit. We have a mechanism. After 6 months, we have assigned an independent agency. They will do this interview. And we also have an exist interview. Somebody who is actually present in the organization. In another jargon, they will say stay interview. So I think we need to redefine and reimagine the retention part. Otherwise, we are not going to be. We will sail in the same ship for a longer time. I think these are the era in which lot of technological changes is there. Only thing you need to understand is that how to change your perspective from a transaction to compassion. That is important.
Awesome, sir. Awesome.
Excellent, sir. Awesome. There are so many takeaways, but only first one takeaway is customized rewards and recognition. It's a nutshell. You have given the answer. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ganesh sir. Wonderful insight. I mean, and I can really see the kind of passion and the conviction you have on HR. So I would recommend you to write HR best practices, sir. You can write a book on the HR best practices.
I just started, but I am not able to finalize. Maybe I need some sort of a support from Prakash or someone.
Yeah, definitely, sir. Prakash will be more than happy to do it. And somewhere your thoughts and his thoughts are aligned. You're talking about 360, right? And Prakash has done 360. I mean, he has really executed it very well. So sometime when Prakash will speak to you, you'll get to know how well he's executing the 360 in the mass leadership, sir. So nevertheless, we are almost reached 7:30. So I'll invite our summary leader, Mr. Senthil Kumar, to summarize the session for the day. So Senthil, sir, please.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Today we have been totally showered with wisdom from you, sir.
True.
Coming to the, without taking much time, as time keeps pressing, let me make the long summary short. So like how there was a metaphor of battery AAA, how the battery gets ignited with a AAA rating and the human as a self gets self-ignited by following authenticity, aspiration, and the authority. Yeah. And you have resonated this with the IPL episode where every team member has a given opportunity to demonstrate his leadership. Thereby, he is trying to bring synergy and working in a team as a collaborative way to towards one goal for the India. A second thing was vision should not be something like glued on the wall. It should be imbibed within us. Each employee should have this collective aspiration. So in the terms, he need to be more than humble to move towards the one common goal, which is the vision of the organization. Next is we were mapping the aspiration from perspective, authenticity from personality, and authority from position. Second thing, last thing is when we communicate with our employee through 360-degree feedback with feed forward, we need to make sure that our feedback is connective, collective, and corrective. So in the three aspects we need to ensure. And last but not least, whenever we have the team members on board, we need to make sure our team people are involved, inspired, and informed at all walks of life. And last thing is, we have been saying from Narayan Krishnamurti on his speech, which was resonating on the synergy and collaborate for a healthy organization. That's it from my side, sir.
It is Natarajan Chandrasekharan, not Narayan Krishnamurti.
Okay, Natarajan. Okay. Okay.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for summarizing the session. So here I would invite Ms. Chanani to have the vote of thanks, and then we can formally close the session. And then I will hand it over to Mr. Arul for the networking post-thanking video. So Janani, over to you for the vote of thanks.
Good evening, all. I'm Janani, and I'm doing my BCom Honors degree along with my professional course, Chartered Institute of Management Accountants at SRM. Thank you, sir, for sharing your expertise. That was really new and helpful. Before me sharing about the next week's episode, let me quickly share again the purpose of the community for the visitors who are attending for the first time. Leaders Connect 360 is a hybrid model leadership community where every Wednesday from 6:30 p.m. to 7:15 p.m., we invite a top management leader from a reputed corporate company to suggest some solutions for a real-time leadership challenges like the experience we had today from our guest, Mr. Ganesh Balasubramani. Now, I'm happy to share our next week's guest, Mr. Harbinder Narula, CEO, Business World Healthcare World and Business World Wellbeing World. Join us on 19th July 2023. Registration links for the episodes will be shared through social media platforms duly. It is very simple to join our community. Do click on the below social media links. It gives me an immense pleasure to thank our guest, Mr. Ganesh Balasubramanian, and panel discussion leader, Ms. Archana Sreeram, for spending your valuable time in sharing your experiences and solutions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jani. Thank you so much. And Arul, if you can just play the thanking video. And before that, sir, Ganesh sir, if you want to add something or say something to our visitors, would help. So last few words.
I'm very much thankful to all of you for this wonderful opportunity. So you note down my number. It starts from 9. Have 9 glasses of water every day, 8 hours of sleep, 7 wonders of tour along with your family, 6-digit salary, 5-day working company that you join, have a 4-wheeler, have a 3-bedroom apartment because that is also very necessary. Have 2 beautiful kids, even though the India government is not promoting that. Beloved wife, and last one, 0 tension in life. That is the
awesome. Excellent, sir. Excellent. Amazing landing, sir. Thank you so much for giving your mobile number. It will be remembered, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So, Arul, please play the
I was just telling.
I got it, sir. I got it. But it's a nice way of remembering this, right? So thank you so much for sharing it. And that shall really help to a certain extent to all of us. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. Life is very simple.
We'll catch up, sir. And sir, I can really see the satisfaction on your face and the smile tells that. Okay. So you are practicing what you're saying. What happens is there are things people talk, but how best they, they reciprocate to people. So that is also important, right? So I can sense that you're practicing what you're telling to us to do. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Arul,
thank you, Pankaj. Thank you, Archana.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Good night. Thank you so much, Arul. Sir, thank you so much. Thank you, all the visitors. See you next week. And for networking, over to you, Arul. You can take up the network. Thank you so much.